Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty, guys. Sorry for that lengthy sojourn there. I know probably freaked a lot of you out there. Like, where did he go? We want to hear about this. I was chatting with Roger about lifey things. You know, those important things that come along once in a while. All right, so we're going to give everybody a couple minutes to get connected here. Make sure my audio is actually freaking turned on this time. Mute that tab. There we go. And we'll go from there. All right, so I mentioned this during the program that I want to welcome Jeff to the company, Jeff Cooper. He was originally with Dell. We hired him on at Schrock a week ago to basically to run our corporate services division. I kind of alluded a little bit during the radio show to it, but we had a guy running corporate services for us. He was doing a very poor job. He was not following up. He was not delivering the level of service that I require, that I feel that we owe our customers. So we let him go, and we didn't have anybody else to step in, so I stepped in. And I didn't really want to do it. Like, don't get me wrong, I love helping my customers. It's not that. It's just there's a lot that goes. I'm already doing a ton of stuff, and there's things with the radio show. Some of these spots on the radio show need to be rewritten, guys. I mean, they've been. There was one that's like if you're running an outdated operating system like Windows XP, I'm like, it's a 12-year-old commercial. Like, we need to get some new spots. So I've got things to do, right? So now I just layer all this other stuff on top. I'm sure it's fine. So running corporate services, creating new contracts, creating new onboarding materials, finding the holes in the system, fixing the holes in the system, got everything running pretty smooth now after a couple months. And now it's time to bring in the guy who's going to run the system, because it can't be me forever. So we bring in Jeff. And whenever you have a hire at this level, at a management level hire like this, you're always really nervous because resumes are resumes. And sometimes people write things on resumes that aren't true, or they might exaggerate, or maybe things that are true but were all coincidentally true. It doesn't tell the true story of the person. But no, what Schrock has hired is a guy that saved Dell $12.5 million last year in efficiencies. When I told him what we wanted to do with the corporate services division, he very politely smiled and nodded. And then when he told me the $12.5 million, I'm like, you got to probably be laughing on the inside when I tell you what I want to do here. And he was like, it won't be a problem. And smile, it won't be a problem. What you want to accomplish won't be a problem. Like, I like the confidence. I like it. I like it good. All right, so let's make sure we got everybody here. Mary's here. Good to have you, Mary. Randy, Heidi. From New Orleans, Heidi? How in the world did you hear about us in New Orleans? Oh, my goodness. My wife wants to take me to New Orleans. She's been there, but I've never been there. And she said that everybody down there is still super this was as of a few months ago. Everyone was still super vaccinated, masky, I am not COVID vaccinated, and I don't like to wear masks. So, it kind of restricts my ability to travel still a little bit. It's getting better, but it's still a little restricted. But yeah, she's definitely of the opinion that we need to have a weekend in New Orleans at some point. So yeah, tell me how things are going down there. Roger's back. Oh no, I clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. All right, Roger's back. Click like. There we go. Marion's here. Good to have you. Winston, thank you for the audio check, Winston. Apparently I need it today. Mitch is here. Cheryl and Rich are here. Mark's back. Steven's here. Yeah, everyone's checking in. Aaron's back. Buffering and no audio. Well, that's on your end this time. My stuff is good to go. I'm here buggy as hell on the internet. Oh, that's that rehab facility internet. They need to rehab the internet. All right, got another cup of coffee, Bill. Good. We're going to have some fun. All right, so I don't have a ton of super earth-shattering news for you today. The world's a mess. There's going to be wars. Currency's probably going to collapse at some point. Maybe you should hedge your bets a little bit. But, that's all stuff that we can talk about some other time, right? Because we have more important things to talk about today. So once a year, what we do at Schrock is I grab every month we have a senior technicians meeting where all of the senior managers for each of my service center, we all get together and we have breakfast. Do I need to buy them all breakfast? Probably not. Do they eat an ungodly amount of food? Yes, they do. But the reason we do it, we get everyone together because, number one, everybody gets to meet each other, interact with each other. It builds a camaraderie or a team spirit so that when we call each other between the service centers, we're not just a voice anymore. We're a voice with a face. Number two, it allows us it allows everyone in that group to see that the challenges and the expectations that they face on a daily basis running a Schrock service center are not unique. They're not alone. There are other people who have the same expectations and loads and burdens placed on them in their service centers. And every service center is different. The Omaha Service Center is different than the Papillion Service Center, is different than the Des Moines Service Center, is different than the Lincoln Service Center. So they all have their own unique challenges. And of course, they all have individuals with unique skill sets. But one of the things that binds all of us together, the one thread that has to be strong, is that we are a service company first. Products are second. Products are important. We need to have products. Need to have them defined well, priced well, competitive, nice features, the whole bit. Pretty catalogs, got to have it all. But we have to have the service. If we don't have the service behind all this stuff, we're no different than Best Buy. We're no different than any of these other competitors that are out there in our marketplace doing computer repair. Because all of their focus is on the product, always, and the sale. So what we do once a year is I task my employees, my senior managers, to go out to a competitor. So they take off their Schrock shirt, they put on another shirt. It's kind of funny. We had one guy who was like, yeah, so I took off my Schrock shirt and I went into this other competitor, and it was in Des Moines, and then, you know, got out and got in the Schrock car. I'm like, wait a minute. You drove the Schrock car to drop off the computer at the competitor? Like, you took your shirt off, but then you drove the stenciled car? Like, come on, man. He goes, no, I didn't mean that. I was misunderstood. I didn't take the Schrock car. We don't even have a Schrock car in Des Moines. It's kind of funny. But basically what we do is we send out the senior technicians to competitors, local competitors. We don't do the same ones every year. We try to do different ones every year. There are only so many to do. But the objective here is I want my senior technicians to walk into somebody else's place and see how they do it. Because when you see how someone else is doing it, you can see why we do things the way we do. So when I send my guys to walk into some place that is not a service business, and they're like, yeah, everything they had was like used computers. Or one of the guys said it was like stepping in, this is going to date a lot of you, but it's like stepping into an episode of Sanford and Sons when you go in there. I mean, when you see that, then all of a sudden you're like, when I walk into the Papillion Service Center, I have a direct shot into the back room. I can see that center island there. Maybe we should work on keeping that a little cleaner. Now, granted, it's not Sanford. There's not an oscilloscope sitting on it. What the hell are you using an oscilloscope for? There's not an oscilloscope standing there, but, all the same, maybe we should keep it clean, And so it allows us to have a little fun, to kind of laugh a little bit about some of the crazy things that our competitors do and they don't think that anyone notices, to kind of, ego boost a little bit about why we do the things that we do the way that we do them, and the problems that our competitors are going to have short-term and long-term because of the way they are doing things. And why do we know that? Because we've been doing this for 24 years. We've tried it all, guys, and we know what happens. So let me give the first one. In the Omaha Service Center, we have a competitor for Omaha that is an up-and-comer. They're not new, but they're only a few years old. They have a website that for the longest time was kicking our website's butt, like in ratings, like in rankings, like it kept ranking above us. But when you went to the website, literally it was like, is that a homeless guy in a video? Like what is this website? Like, why is this website beating us? We have so much content, we have so much good stuff, and this website is beating us? How is that possible? Calling our SEO guy, how is this possible? And he's like, I'm looking into it, and like they're new, and that's part of what's happening. This is going to know. And he was right. Over time, we overtook them, and everything was great. Content always wins in the end. But with that said, what are they doing that's different or special that we are not doing? So we sent a guy out with a computer. They took a computer and they broke it 6 ways from Sunday. It had a power supply in it where the fan wasn't turning. So our guys, it tests normal, but the fan's not turning. So our guys would diagnose that as a bad power supply because there's a reason that fan is in there. It keeps things from overheating inside the power supply when you put a load on it. So while it might be fine under just, hey, I turned it on and it boots up and it works good, the second you start trying to play Minecraft on it or doing something with a kid or something or stream a video from it, it's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter until something finally goes pop. And that's bad. So we would say, hey, your power supply has a bad fan. It's not a replaceable component. You have to replace the power supply. We sent it in with a bad hard drive. Hard drive was at 98% health, so it was a good enough drive that it worked, but it was bad. Then we purposefully corrupted the Windows installation so it wouldn't boot. So now we have a computer with a bad power supply, a bad hard drive that will not boot. Go. So we take it into them, we drop it off at the service center, and their recommendation was we should buy a new computer because the hard drive was bad. They did find the bad hard drive. And it needed to have a Windows reinstall and everything else. They did not find the bad power supply, but they did recommend that we look at a new computer, well, a new to us computer, because they don't sell new computers. They primarily sell refurbished computers. And that's something that at Schrock we don't touch, we don't mess with. It's so tempting, guys, because it's just, people are just throwing away hardware. You drop it off and have us recycle it, right? I mean, how hard would it be for me to open that up and take the parts out? And maybe I don't need all those parts today, but the day will come when I need that part to make this computer a full computer, and now I have it. And it doesn't cost me anything. And I can build this computer, and I can sell it to another customer for like $250, put $250 in my pocket, and walk away with a higher profit margin than Thor Schrock gets selling brand new computers at Schrock Innovations. Happy day, right? It is so tempting that we actually, at one point, Schrock bought another computer repair company called ARN Networks in Omaha. I bought it, and I said, this is what we're going to do. Schrock's going to be like the high service, high level place with new hardware. We don't do anything used. And ARN is going to be the opposite. They're going to be low end. They're going to be, cheap, used computers. Whatever we have is what we have. Check every day. We have specials on the website, that kind of thing. What ended up happening at the end of the day was people bought the refurbished computers. Some of them worked great for a while, and some of them didn't. Some of them worked good for 6 months and then died. And those people were upset with ARN. And ARN said, here's our policy. Because we are a product, anybody who's selling refurbished equipment, by definition, cannot be a service company. You will go, well, you can, but you'll go broke. Because if your objective is to have happy customers and you're selling them hardware that somebody else has used all the goodness out of, and you're kind of, strapping the parts with scraps of goodness left together to make something that's got a scrap of goodness left to last somebody 6 months to get them out of the warranty, and then when it blows up, which it will, then you're telling them, here's the warranty, 6 months right here, that's all you get, sorry. We can fix it for you, it'll cost more than you paid for the whole computer. Maybe you'd like to buy a new one, new to you one. It's not fun. Well, eventually people figured out that I own Schrock and I own ARN. And they were saying, well, we know Thor. We hear him on the radio. We know that he would not want somebody to be dissatisfied with something that he has made, something that he is doing. Therefore, I bought this piece of crap at ARN, and it's a piece of junk. And I knew it was a piece of junk when I bought it because I only paid $250 for it. But I expected the piece of junk to last me more than a year, and it didn't last me more than a year. And even though it's only 6 months under warranty, and it lasted me a year, I expect you to fix this for free because you're Thor Schrock, and you don't sell crap. Well, how do you handle that? Or better yet, I buy the used piece of crap at ARN, and then I take the broken computer into a Schrock location and say, I have a warranty on it. And people at Schrock are like, I can't seem to find you in our system anywhere. Well, I bought it over at your other location. Well, they're all linked together. We can see them all. No, the used one, the ARN one. Oh, that's a separate company. They're not part of Schrock. You can't actually bring that in under warranty here. You have to take it in over there under warranty. Well, I don't like the techs over there. They're no good. Like, that guy doesn't know what he's doing. Well, yeah, That's because we can only pay them $7.50 an hour because we're selling used crap and there's no margin. So we can't hire a $25 or $50 an hour technician to work on your computer for you because ARN. So we're going to take it to Schrock and get the high grade service there on the piece of crap that we bought. And the guys at Schrock are like, we didn't sell this, did we? Like, this is obviously used. Like, this would be like a violation of everything we stand for as a company. Like, what? Yeah, no, you didn't sell it. It was ARN. Oh, ARN, got it. Eventually, we had to wrap it up. We had to close it because it was a branding nightmare because everybody figured out that I owned both of them. And then at that point going forward, there was no differentiation between the two. Like, they were equals, and that can't be. So anyway, we had to wrap it up. We had to close it. And then we folded all the customers into Schrock customers, gave them all warranty spiffs to get them all in the door, basically make sure they were taken care of. And then, kind of said, we're never going to sell you a used computer ever again. Sorry. So anyway, my guy goes into this computer place, and they recommend a new computer, new to him computer. It's a used computer. Literally, it was just used computers. They were stacked up on top of each other along the wall. Basically, you could take your pick of whichever one you wanted. The prices were all relatively the same. There was a little bit of a difference for some higher end stuff, but for the most part, it was just a bunch of used garbage. So that was one place in town. Turnaround time was decent. He did get back to him within 48 hours, so that was, I would consider that acceptable. They didn't lead us to believe that they were going to call us back same day or anything and then do different. So, expectations were set and met, which was great. They collected a lot of the same information that we collect from customers when they drop a computer off. Yeah, so I mean, all in all, it was, if you took Schrock Innovations back in time 20 years and then had us selling used stuff instead of new stuff, I could see it being quite similar. Where they came up a little short was the explanation of why things needed to be done, and giving people options aside from just buying my used piece of garbage computer. So we never got a quote on how much it would cost to actually fix our computer. Like we don't have a price on that. We were never given a price because the technician that was quoting us the prices just assumed that it would be less expensive for us to buy one of his used computers to replace our broken computer. Didn't consider the fact maybe we don't want to buy a used computer. Didn't consider the fact that maybe this computer is doing something special or specific that it would be hard to replicate with a new computer. Didn't even quote us the price so that we could make an informed decision. $250. How much is the power supply in this computer? We don't know. How much you want to charge for that? We don't know. We never knew. No quote was given. So lessons learned there for my staff was never assume that you know the solution the customer will choose before you give them the options. Because number one, it will color the options that you give them. You're not going to want to push forward options that you think that the customer is going to go with. You always give all the options. You say, it's ungodly expensive, but this is option one. Option two would be to buy a new computer, and here's this price. And option three would be, this is the bare minimum things that you need to fix under option one to keep the computer running without the price getting crazy. And then you let the customer choose what option they prefer to do what's best. They may ask you, what do you recommend? You give them a recommendation. You go forward from there. So that was shop number one that we went to. Alrighty. I remember ARN. Bought a computer there. My church is using it now. And see, Paul, some of the computers that, it was weird because at ARN, we were selling used computers, but we were actually putting them through all the tests and everything. And if there was a part that didn't pass, we didn't try to include it or squeeze it in or sneak it through. We got rid of it. We just recycled it because we had enough parts. Because we were basically getting all the recycles from all the Schrock locations. So if we needed a power supply, we could find one in some other computer somewhere. There was no reason to push something out the door that we knew was faulty, even if it was a little bit faulty. So some of the used computers that we sold at ARN were amazing. And some of them behaved just like you'd expect a used computer to behave, and they lasted 6 months. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Eaton surge protectors are on sale. I've been using one. Hi Thor. Eaton surge protectors are on sale. I've been using one in my holiday special 5 years without a chirp. How long will this thing last? The audible alert version of the Eaton surge protectors, they will last until they chirp. When they're no longer able to protect your computer, they will start beeping or chirping. So keep on keeping on, my man. You're good to go. All right, so number 2, the Des Moines Service Center. There's not a lot of competitors in the Des Moines area that are significant enough that we would want to shop them. There's a lot of really, really small shops that wouldn't really pose a competitive threat, I guess. And we always want to shop. We want to shop near peers. That's what we're trying to do. So we went and shopped a very large pier, 200 employees at this pier, and we took in a computer that had some issues with it. I think we took an iMac in, actually, an old iMac. And the guys actually removed the hard drive entirely from it. They took the hard drive out and then put it all back together and took the iMac in. So the first thing they did is they went onto this company's website, and they have a thing where you can check in online. Hey, Thor, why don't you have a thing on your website where people can check in their computers online? Number 1, because we'll miss the check-in. Number 2, because people type stupid, incorrect things in a check-in box. And so we'll end up with bad data in our system, and we'll make decisions based on bad data. We'd much rather control the flow of data into our own systems. Okay, lots of reasons. So he fills out the online thing on their website saying, I want to bring my computer in, and it says, we're going to call you. So he waited 2 days and didn't get a phone call. So then he goes and takes the computer in, just shows up. Oh, we here you are. Sorry, we didn't see you. You were off in this other area. They missed it. That's what would happen at Schrock too. Okay, that's why we don't do it. So then, okay, we got you. We're gonna check it in, but okay, it's my dad's computer. I don't know what it is. He just gave it to me. He said try to make something good out of it. The guy at the counter looks at the computer, and then he said, "Well, if we open it, there's a $95 fee to put it back together because it's a Mac." I understand where he's going with this. Many Mac models have adhesive, single-use adhesive that holds the screen on. So if you take the screen off to diagnose and figure out what's going on, you have to put the screen back on, and you have to use $25 or $50 cost on adhesive. Well, they charge $95 for the adhesive and the labor to put it all back together. Totally understand that, except the Mac that we brought in was so old, it was one of the magnet screen ones. So literally it just pulled apart. There was no adhesive, it was all magnets. So they were going to charge us $95 for adhesive that they didn't disclose when we checked it in or when we talked to them the first time over the phone. They told us the price of what it was going to cost to come in. They came in, all the prices checked out. It wasn't on there. They had all their prices on a board. The $95 Mac thing wasn't on any of the boards anywhere. It was a surprise cost if you had a Mac and you walked in there. So you never want to have surprise costs. That was kind of that wasn't good. Presentation in there, it presented like a computer, like a mini micro center. If you've ever been to a micro center, basically it's a store you go to buy computer parts. And there's parts everywhere. Nicely organized, new parts, used parts, all available. The guy at the counter said, "I'm looking out for your wallet. And this is an old Mac. I'm just looking at eBay here, and you can buy another one of these on eBay for like $60, including shipping. So why don't you just buy another one on eBay, unless there's something super special about this one, and then save yourself the money, because it's going to cost you more than $60 to diagnose it here." Okay. So that's service. Okay, I see that. Okay, I see you. So that was nice. The guy said, "I'm looking out for your wallet." He's avoiding the trap that many computer repair shops fall in of taking the immediate sale up front always, and instead investing in a relationship with the customer over a longer term. That's why Schrock is successful. That's because we do that every time, as opposed to some other shops like what I'm going to tell you about, another one that didn't do that. So this particular shop in Des Moines, definitely a peer competitor. Definitely somebody we should pay attention to. Definitely something. Why do they have 200 employees? I mean, Schrock's got like 16. What are they doing that they have 200 employees? I mean, is it a mafia front? Like, what is this? So that's something else that we're going to look into as well. But I think a big chunk of it is they do a lot of corporate service work. So be that as it may. So anyway, that was the Des Moines location. In Papillion, we shopped a competitor that's in Bellevue, Nebraska, because there isn't really anybody else in Papillion, and we've already done the only other place in Papillion last year, and we did the same one the year before because there's only one. And every year the guy does the same thing and charges us a bunch of stuff that we didn't agree to, does the work before we authorize it. It's just a nightmare. So we don't call that guy anymore. But I was going to call him, and I'm like, no, don't do that one. Go to one of the two in Bellevue. So we went to one of the shops in Bellevue, and literally, the guy that shopped them for me is one of the kindest, most kind-hearted people I know. He doesn't say bad things about anybody. And the way that he described it, he was walking into the shop. He had pictures on his phone. He took pictures of things because he was like, I haven't seen things this old in a long time. There was a TRS 80 on the front counter, like on display, basically. TRS 80 is like a 1980s Tandy. Old computer. Obviously not usable for anything anymore. It ran Windows 3.1 off 5.25-inch floppy disks. Didn't even have a hard drive. Why would you have that on display on your front counter? Okay, it's an oddity. I got it. There's an oscilloscope in the back, like on the bench. Like, what are you doing with your oscilloscope? It's like, okay. The check-in process was very rough shot. We were asked, what's your name and what's your phone number? And that's it. And okay. So we brought in a laptop that had a corrupt operating system. We broke Windows on it. And it had a hard drive that was at, I think, 96% or something. It was a failing hard drive with a broken Windows install. So we brought it in, set it down on the counter, and he told the guy what was happening, and he diagnosed it right there on the counter. He was like, okay, so it's a corrupt operating system. Looks like we just need to reinstall Windows on there for you. I'll probably have it ready today, but I'll call you when it's ready. And okay. Well, on the sign it said that it was a Windows reinstall was $150. Okay, so that's what Frank was expecting, was $150. Turns out they only charged us $75 at the end because I don't know, but Frank didn't argue. He just paid the $75. He was getting reimbursed by Schrock anyway, so he didn't care. So what ended up happening was the guy that was supposed to call us back, and it was the owner that checked him in, said, I'll call you back. I'll probably have it done today. I'll give you a call. A week went by, and then Frank actually called him to see what was going on. And it was like, oh, yeah, we got that all wrapped up for you, and it's ready for pickup whenever it's convenient for you. There was never an authorization. There was never permission to fix it. There was never a final quote of cost. Nothing was ever discussed. He just fixed it. He said he could fix it, so he fixed it. But then he finished it, and he never called anybody, and it just sat there. So lessons to be learned from this. This is why at Schrock we have a daily checklist every morning that we have to go down this checklist, and it says anything that has not been called in the last 48 hours needs a courtesy phone call. So even if we're waiting for a part to come, even if it's something where maybe we called the customer, we're waiting for them to make a decision to call us back, just checking in to see if you had a decision on what you want to do with that computer, or if it's in the pickup area. Hey, this doesn't have a date and initials written on it that it was called, which could mean it wasn't called, which means maybe the customer doesn't even know it's here for pickup, which means maybe I should call and tell them. And every day, somebody's walking along saying, looking at the handwritten notes on every work order, has it been called in the last 48 hours? That's why we do that, because we've had this happen in the shop. So yeah, they just forgot to call them, and it sat there for a week. So if this is a real person's computer, that's a little frustrating, right? So they didn't find the bad hard drive at all. Just fixed Windows and send it back out the door. Yay! So fun times there. And then the final location was in Lincoln. Lincoln, there are a couple near peer competitors in Lincoln. One of them is Midtown, and so we shopped them. What Alex reported was that their branding is very much on point at this location. He said it was kind of like walking into a high school gym. Like there was very primary colors, very bright, but very clear that you knew where you were at. You knew that this was their place. You were in the right place because their branding was very on point, which is good. You don't see that a lot in our industry. You see a lot of computer guys starting computer repair businesses. They don't know anything about marketing, branding, accounting, anything like that. So, whoa, I'm just reading something here. A few years ago, looking at a laptop salesperson. Okay, I'll read that in a second, Patrick. There's a lot to unpack there. So we went and we shopped them. Apparently, they had some construction going on. They were expanding into one of their neighboring bays. And so there was a plastic sheet, and there was hammering and drilling and everything else. Made it a little difficult for us to hear. But you checked yourself in. Again, when you walk in the front door, boop, 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 boop. And you type your stuff in and you're checked in. So he thought that was kind of, and he goes, basically it was just a mirrored display. So what you're typing in is just a mirror of what's on the other guy's. So the guy behind the counter can see what you're typing on his screen, can actually type on his screen as well, but you are typing in all of your own stuff because like it's beneath him to type your stuff in. So you do that yourself. Kind of like bag and save. You're going to bag your own groceries. So you're typing all the information in. Guy behind the counter was very, very pleasant. Was not the owner. Was very pleasant. We took in a computer that had several issues, similar stuff, bad hard drive, bad Windows, things like that. Oh no, actually I made a mistake here. The computer that we took into this location worked fine, except it had a failing liquid cooler pump. So what the guys in Lincoln did is they made sure the liquid cooler pump was bad. So the computer would run fine for a little while, but then once it got hot, it would shut off because the pump wasn't working. It wasn't moving the liquid through. To their credit, they did accurately diagnose the failing liquid cooling pump. When they explained how they diagnosed it to my tech, it was difficult for him not to laugh because like the way he chalked it up, he was being giving him a lot of grace, and he said, if I was trying to explain a failing liquid, how to detect that your liquid cooler pump was failing to a layman, I might say something similar to like, well, you touch the one tube and then you touch the other tube, and if one's hot and one's cold, everything's okay. But if they're both hot, that's not good. Okay. He goes, it seemed a little, he goes, I was trying not to laugh at the guy, but if I was explaining, he didn't know that I was me, so, if I was explaining it to a layman, I might say something similar, whatever. They didn't find the bad hard drive at all that was in the computer. They didn't check it, they didn't test it. But they did find the bad pump. We told him, don't fix it, that's fine, we'll come pick it up. So he brings it back home, and he finds all their tools left on the desktop that they used to test the pump. So we know exactly the software they used to test the pump. To heat it up, basically. And there's nothing wrong with the software they used. It was valid for the use, but they left the mess on the computer's desktop. So lessons to be learned from this. We used to copy our tech toolbox called Awesome Toolbox onto all of the desktops of the computers we run, because then you didn't have to leave your flash drive plugged in as you went from computer to computer. The problem is now some people have Microsoft accounts, and when you put something on the desktop, it synchronizes with the Microsoft account. So then when you delete it from the desktop, so you may try to clean up after yourself. Delete, 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 empty the recycle bin, shut the computer down. Customer gets home, turns the computer on, and it synchronizes everything and downloads your toolbox back to their desktop. And the only way to get rid of it is to go into like the OneDrive online account and delete it from there. It's a pain in the butt. So we stopped doing that now. We stopped putting the toolboxes on the desktops so that we weren't leaving a mess behind, especially a mess that continually recreates itself for our customers, because that's not good. That's not cool. Number two is, we always test your hard drive. Not only do we test it for consistency, we test the health of the drive, we also test the speed of the drive to make sure that your solid state hard drive is running at the speed it's supposed to be running at. Anything under 300 megabytes a second is a failing drive, because that's slower than a mechanical drive, and that's the whole reason you have a solid state, is to be faster than a mechanical drive. So if it's that slow, that's bad. So, overall, their branding was on point. The service left a little to be desired. It was completed on time. The diagnosis was accurate. Again, a near-peer competitor, somebody that we should keep an eye on, that did some things right and had some things that they can improve on. But they're making the same mistakes that we have made in the past. And when we make a mistake, the important thing is that we learn from that mistake, that we try to create a system to prevent that mistake from happening again. So there you have it, guys. That was us shopping all the competitors in each of the 4 locations, each city, trying to find a near peer competitor to take a look at. So let me grab some comments here. Is there a promo code to use in the Secure Updater Special? There is not, Brian. And the reason there is a promo code. There is, but you have to call into the service center. Let us invoice it over the phone for you. I know that can be a pain in the butt, but the reason we have to do it that way with Secure Updater is because other computer shops also sell Secure Updater. So we make it available to other computer repair shops. So when you go to secureupdater.com, that's why it doesn't say Schrock anywhere, really. Because, what if one of our competitors in town, what if one of these near-peer competitors wanted to sell Secure Updater? We'd let them. That's fine. They can sell our software, but they wouldn't sell our software. They can't, we can't have Schrock all over it. Nobody would do that. So we have to keep it pretty generic. So the price that's online is a normal price for everybody, and we can't discount that because effectively we'd be discounting some other company's prices, and that's not cool. So we can offer in-house discounts that we do. So just give us a call. You can install the free trial and everything and put that on your computer, and then call us to activate it over the phone, and we'll take care of you with the coupon code there. Let's see here. Okay, this is what I wanted to unpack here. This is from Patrick. Schrock sucks. This hypocrite owner just said that you give all the options when selling a computer. He also claims to do right by the customer, but I went a location a few years ago looking for a new laptop, and the salesperson was lazy and wouldn't even show me how to go over the specifications with me. So I sternly scolded him for not doing his job, and I was asked to leave because of the lazy employee. Then, when I tried to use the warranty on the computer I had naively already purchased from them, they refused to honor it, but wouldn't give me the $100 back either, which is a policy. If a warranty is not used, you get it back or roll it over the next year. One of my friends warned me, Schrock is no good, and he's right. All right, so let's take a look, Patrick. I can pull up your customer account here, and let's find out exactly what happened. Because if we did make a mistake and you were treated that way, you shouldn't have been treated that way. But on the other hand, what I've learned from Alfonso over the years is if I immediately see a problem and I call Alfonso and say, Alfonso, this is broken, I need you to fix it. And then he says, Thor, you need to look. It's not broken, you just enter it wrong. So you double check your work so that you don't make a mistake. And so let me double check the work here real quick, Patrick. Patrick Hellwig. Okay, you are a customer in Lincoln. And I'm pulling this up here real quick. Your last work order that you had with us was from 2018. So you are right, it's been a few years. And you have never purchased a computer from us unless you purchased it. No, well, you've been a customer since... We have work orders going back to 2012, so hold on a second. This could have been from the old system. We implemented a new point of sale system, and so we pulled the work orders in, but it didn't pull the values in. So it's possible that your computer sale could have been one of these older work orders. So unfortunately, it doesn't show me the totals on that. But I think I can still pull up the old system. Let me try that. This is great radio. Sorry, guys. All right. Welcome to the old system, where I have to click login every time I click on the link because it's broke. And we didn't ever fix it because why would you? Because it's not the current system anymore. Oh my gosh, this is so frustrating. All right. One of the things the old system did really well, though, is if you misspelled somebody's name or got a close spelling to it, it's not going to let me log in and do this. Every time I log in, it pops up, and it's definitely broke. I'm going to try it in Chrome one more time. It's not letting me look up a work order. This is a system we stopped using like in 2018-ish, and after we stopped using it, we never really looked back because the new system is so much better. No, it's going to make me do it every time again. https:// go there. Try one more time with a... Okay, it's not working. All right, so I digress, so I apologize there. Okay, so I don't have your totals here, so I can't look at when your warranty was purchased. So there's different warranties, and there's different... there's extended warranties and there's standard warranties. If you purchase a standard warranty, you buy a computer, you get a 1-year warranty. There is no rollover because you didn't pay for anything for the warranty. Now, if you paid $99 for a warranty and you had no warranty work orders on that warranty, in other words, you never used the warranty, well, then you get a refund on your warranty. In the old days, you had to request it. You had to come in and you had to say, here's my warranty. Since we put our new system in place, we have automated that now. So the warranty refunds automatically happen. You don't have to request them. If you don't request it, you just get a credit on account. And even if you don't know it's there, the next time you come in to do business with Schrock, when you go to pay us, it uses the warranty on account, or the credit on account first, leaving a balance of whatever is remaining over. So then you're like, oh, well, why is my balance lower? Well, because you had a credit on account. Why did I have a credit? Well, you used to have a warranty, but it expired and you didn't use it, so you got a refund. Oh, hey, that's pretty cool. And that's how the system works now. So like the last time that I'm seeing you coming in here was in 2018, and you had a virus cleanup under warranty. The warranty on your system was valid from 2016 to 2020, so there was definitely a warranty extension in there somewhere. But if you use the warranty, we can't refund it back to you. Now, as far as having a person in the service center that was rude and did not want to go over things with you, I hate to say it, but Patrick could be right here, guys. We had some staff members in our Lincoln Service Center that were not exemplifying the level of service that we wanted to have. That's why we did a complete clean sweep of that service center. We let everybody go, and we rebuilt it from the ground up with people who actually, like with Kim, if you go in and you talk to Kim, she'll spend all afternoon with you talking to you about specs and features and things that you need to have done to your computer. She will sit there and figure out, why is it that this hasn't happened, or why is it that your account looks this way? Now we've got Alex in there who's managing that service center, and literally he is going over every work order before you even get a phone call. The junior technicians take the work order to Alex, and Alex reviews it just to make sure their work is right before, because we can't afford to have another mistake like that in Lincoln again, because we did a ton of damage to our reputation in Lincoln with that crew that we had. And unfortunately, as the owner, it falls on me. It's my responsibility. So I guess, Patrick, it sounds like you may have been a victim of that. I am sorry. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to happen. So if there's something that I can do to get another bite at that apple, I'd love to have the opportunity to earn your trust back. If we did actually owe you, it looks like you used your warranty, and that's why you didn't get a refund. But if there was a circumstance where you should have received a refund and you didn't, I'm happy to give you that refund now. It's not like there's a time limit here on doing the right thing. So I guess, if there's something that I can do, Patrick, please reach out to me. Let me know. Let me know that there's something I can do to make things right with you. And if we're beyond the point and you're already happy somewhere else, I totally understand that as well. We earned that outcome with you. Is from the dates that I'm looking at, you would have been right smack in the middle. So guys, I'd love to be able to tell you guys that Patrick's crazy and that we would never do anything like that. But it's possible that he did have an experience like this in my Lincoln Service Center at that moment in time, which is why those people aren't there anymore. But it doesn't excuse the fact that something like that happened. Alrighty. Oh, guys. Oh, now you guys are... It was kind of a nasty. Patrick kind of called me some names there. It was, it could have been done better, but I can see his perspective here. I can see him saying, here's this guy sitting on the radio saying all these pleasant things, but when the rubber meets the road, it's all BS. Because a lot of places it's like that. It's not like that at Schrock. If I would have known, Patrick, you were treated this way at the time it happened, I would have fixed it at that time. But I didn't know. So like I said, if there's anything that I can do, let me know. And I'm happy to help. Let's see. Is the old system DOS? No, the old system is based on a PHP version 4. Literally, it should be offline. We still have it online, so we can go back and reference it a little bit if we need to. It should be offline because it's not secure by any stretch of the imagination. Unlike our current system, that's completely secure. Uh, but the funny thing is we built that system in 2005. And we used it successfully until like 2018, 2017, something like that. 2018, I think. And, we put money into it along the way. But it was one of the things that allowed us to grow because none of our competitors, all of our competitors were still on paper or using Access databases or something crazy, where we had this really nice online system that nobody else had. And now we have the next iteration of that being developed right now. Behind the scenes, this is stuff you're never going to hear about or see, but Alfonso right now is working on integrating a time clock and scheduling function to our online system. Why is that important? Right now our schedule is a Google Sheet. Everybody knows when they're supposed to be at work. It's on the Google Sheet. Time clock, we have a time clock. It's a digital time clock. Works fine. Keeps track of people's time. No big deal. But wouldn't it be great if the time clock and the schedule were both accessible to the online system? So therefore, if we were going to schedule an on-site appointment for somebody, we would be able to see who is scheduled to work that day. We would be able to see what time they're coming in. So the system could automatically restrict, like, okay, we only have a front desk and one technician, so no on-sites available during this time. But the second technician comes in at 3. At that point, we could schedule an on-site, but we never want to schedule it right for 3 because you walk in the door at 3, you're like, you're supposed to be on-site. I just got here. So 3:30, okay, gives you time to get in, put your stuff down, get clocked in, get your day started, and then you can go on-site. Gives you time to get there. So now, what if the system had access to all that data? That would be great. Now we can generate automatic emails that says, Alex will be out to shoot you for your appointment. Alex is departing the service center in 10 minutes. If there's any changes, let us know. Automated tech. What if Alex called in sick that day? What if Alex is scheduled to go on an on-site, but he's not clocked in because he's sick? Ruh-roh. Are we going to find out like, oh, there's an on-site? The customer calls, oh, somebody's supposed to be here at 3? Or wouldn't it be better if the system automatically sent some text messages to my operations manager that says we have an on-site scheduled at 3 o'clock and a technician is not clocked in for that on-site. We need to have that on-site filled. And then he can take steps to fill the on-site. There's all kinds of really cool things that we can do if the system knows who is in the shop at a specific time and who is supposed to be in the shop at a specific time. Not to mention the fact it gets really annoying. My HR guy was like, do people think like some robot, like if they forget to clock out, so like you clock in at 10 in the morning, but then you forget to clock out, so the next day at 10 you clock in again, and it looks like you've been at work for 24 hours. So she runs the payroll report, and you have like 177 hours on the payroll. And she's like, that's obviously not right. So she has to go back through. Well, people put notes in there like, forgot to clock out yesterday. And then she has to go in and manually edit it. Well, then it got to the point where like almost every day somebody was leaving her notes. And she's like, does she think like Chat GPT comes in here and just like corrects the time clock? No, it's me. I'm a human. I have to do this. Remember to clock out. Well, guess what? Now if the system knows when your shift is scheduled to end and that you clocked in, it knows when you're supposed to clock out. So if you fail to clock out, it will clock you out. Wow. Automation, baby. Basic logic stuff. But once we have that information, once we have that building, those building blocks in the system, then we can build skill sets in. So now we could actually have the system select not just which technician among available technicians we can send today, but which technician among available technicians is the best suited for the on-site needs of the work order. Yeah. It's going to be pretty cool once we get this up and running. So it's not DOS, not DOS. Alrighty, let's see. Hodgepodge of systems, the base was built in the budget. Programmer gotta make do with what you have. Now we have an incredible system that's growing. I was like, who's that? Who's writing this? Oh, okay, wasn't me. All right, thanks for the reply. My joke didn't come off. I'll try to do better next time. Had a TRS-80, tried to change the memory, had to take it into Radio Shack to fix it. Oh, the old TRS 80 days. All right, guys, got to get rolling here. But last call for questions. I want to give everyone an opportunity to ask questions or be a part here if there's something that I had to click a like on Patrick's thing there because I don't want to leave him out. That's the thing, guys. You know, in life, you're going to make mistakes. And things are going to break. Systems are going to break. And one of the things, we actually have a computer-based training video that new employees have to watch. And it basically says, we want you to work here for 90 days before you start suggesting changing things. Well, I love that you're eager. I love that you have ideas. Your ideas will make us a better company. But keep them to yourself until you understand why we do what we do. Because the reasons that we do the things we do are not necessarily apparent on the surface. And you're going to make a fool out of yourself by suggesting that we change all these things because, well, it can be done more efficiently if you didn't have to write your name and initials on everything. Why don't you just have an automated system call those people every 24 to 48 hours? That would be great unless they're on the National Do Not Call Registry. Or if maybe in their customer support options they have selected they do not prefer to receive phone calls. Then what happens if my employees are assuming the system is calling them, but the system can't call them, and the customer comes in all upset because nobody ever called them when their computer was done, and we say, well, it's because you said you didn't want to subscribe to phone alerts, so actually this is your fault, you know? Good luck with that. Again, not good service. So it's okay to have automated systems doing automated things. I want the human brain involved as well, because the human brain is a little more flexible. It's a little bit better apt to do these things. The challenge comes in when systems break, like when somebody doesn't get a call and their stuff sits there for a week. That's happened in our service centers before. Why does it happen? Well, because Omaha Service Center doesn't have a front desk because we can't find anyone to hire, and the guys are doing the checklist as best they can, but maybe they only get to the checklist once every few days as opposed to every day. So therefore, somebody didn't get called for 6 days. That's a problem. So, you know, we got to make sure we have all of our positions filled because when we're missing somebody, it causes systems to break. So anyway, I digress. AI? Well, you know, the funny thing is I told Alfonso when we were developing this system that he was developing AI, and he kind of laughed at me. And I'm like, no, the definition of artificial intelligence is automatically doing any job that you would otherwise require a human to do. So when you're talking about scheduling for on-sites, it would take a human to figure out what humans are going to be available to go on the on-site, not to mention which one is the best qualified to go on the on-site. So yeah, you're developing AI. And he thought, huh. Now with ChatGPT, you know, when the day comes that you can give it data sets to work with, that's going to change everything. Because right now you're kind of restricted. So if I could say, here are the Schrock employees that we have. Here's their availabilities. Construct a schedule that gives everyone no more than 40 hours a week within their availability and no shifts shorter than 3 hours. Go. Wow, that'd be nice. Right now, a human's got to do that. We'll get there. We'll get there. Do SSD drives fail often? And we see failed SSDs every day in every service center, primarily because a lot of people are using SSDs now. So SSDs actually fail less often than mechanical hard drives do, but their failures are more spectacular. When they fail, things just stop working. Whereas a mechanical hard drive can have a slow failure over time, where maybe its performance gets degraded, or it clicks once in a while, or maybe it boots one time and then next time it doesn't boot and you restart it and it boots then. Your SSD is going to give you the same result every time. And they do wear down over time. So basically, they go like this. Now, that downward trend can be accelerated if you fill up an SSD. So if your SSD is completely full or 90% full, it will cause it to fail much more quickly than if it was only 30% full. There's a lot of reasons for that. I won't go into all that right now, but make sure that if you have an SSD in your computer, that it's not full, because that's really unhealthy for the computer. All right, guys, got to wrap her up. Thank you for joining us here. We appreciate you sticking around for the Aftershock. It was spicy. That's how I like it. So thank you for everybody. I appreciate everybody stepping in. And, you know, it's important to remember that part of delivering good service is acknowledging when things don't go right. Because if you don't acknowledge when things don't go right, you can't fix them. And if you don't fix things that are broken, you'll never have good service. So will you have perfect service? Never. Nothing is ever perfect. And I have to tell you, if a customer comes in and is sternly reprimanding one of my employees, the guys are going to come out of the back room and be like, "Hey, is everything okay out here? I hear this customer yelling at one of our people. Like, are you okay? Is everything all right?" Sternly reprimanding can mean a lot of things. So I mean, there's a lot of details in this story that, what could we have done better? Because what I tell my guys and what our CBTs tell us in training that we put everybody through, if a customer leaves our service center unsatisfied, it is our fault. It doesn't matter how unreasonable that person is. It doesn't matter how rude that person is. None of that matters. If they leave our service center thinking they did not get treated fairly or did not get what they were promised, we failed. Because our job is to make people feel that way. So we failed. You can say, well, it's impossible. This guy doesn't want to be happy. Well, then we failed. So anyway, with that, guys, I'm going to let you get going here. Have a great afternoon. Hope everybody has a great Sunday. And then we'll see you next weekend for another edition of Compute This.